In part 1 of this video series, we told you of the work of both William Ola Pollock and Lucas Dangatton, both former inmates of New Bilibid Prison, who too had become Christians whilst in prison and began to teach the gospel to other inmates.
And were the ones who helped my brother when he became a Christian, along with many other prison inmates.
Many of which had written their testimonies of conversion from crime to Christ, and which we publish in our book Trojan Warriors. We also reported on the 12 churches that had been established in the northern Philippines through the preaching and teaching of William Ola Pollock during these past 23 years. It was 10 years ago that William Pollock formed an association of former converted criminals, of which he is the chairman, who too had become Christians, mostly from New Bilibid prisons, and were scattered throughout the Philippines, called Prisons of Christ Organization of the Philippines, POCOP, and continues to this day. I visited this group in 2002 as a guest speaker and became an honorary member. During this visit, the members of the Prisons of Christ organization discussed their regulations to their group for its growth, and to this end they adopted 12 regional leaders, and each leader to appoint the leader for the province he covered, and all records are to be kept of this ongoing work. In order to encourage the work going on in the Philippines, I asked William Pollock to write an account of his conversion from crime to Christ and how he commenced the work in Baguio. I was really asking for a field manual for the benefit of other prison inmates who would be released in the future on how to go about teaching the gospel to men in their own cities and jails. We were able to publish William's story entitled Called from Darkness into His Marvellous Light, and to distribute 60 copies to inmates in 4 jails. Earlier this year, we received a request from the POCOP group to teach the doctrines of grace, or the Reformed faith, and so William and I worked together to fund, produce, print and distribute 60 copies of Louis Berkhof's Systematic Theology, which has now been distributed to the POCOP group and pastors and teachers of Christ-centered churches. Louis Berkhof's Systematic Theology is the textbook adopted by the Theological Institute founded by William Ola Pollock to teach the doctrines of grace. Here is just a few of those receiving copies of their book. Pastor Chris of Minds View Christ-Centered Mission Church receiving his Berkhof's Systematic Theology, and here we have Pastor Warren standing from left to right of ACC-MC, Pastor John Wayne of ECC-MC, and other POCOP groups receiving their Berkhof's Systematic Theology, including Sister Teresa, the wife of one of the POCOP members, and here is Pastor Paul and Pastor Ed receiving their copies of Louis Berkhof's Systematic Theology. And Lucas Dangatton sent a letter of thanks for receiving 2 copies of Systematic Theology, stating it is an excellent book which he commends and will be using in his Theological Jerul Institute in New Bilibid maximum and medium prisons, stating that he has at present 40 inmate teachers and 247 inmates enrolled and are being taught the doctrines of the Reformers, and if released they will be teaching the same to their congregations.
Lucas informed me that he'd been given a 2-story building which he wishes to use as a multifunction room to assist in his work and for the furtherance of the gospel, and wishes to affiliate the work he's doing in New Bilibid Prison with the work we're involved in here in the UK. I was able to remind Lucas that it was my brother's desire to build a 2-story multifunction room for his use for the inmates in New Bilibid Prison back in 2002, that he hoped to fund from book sales, but sadly Michael died before our vision of bringing help to many was realised.
Well now, Ellie asked me for my desires and hopes for the future. My wishes are that the work going on in the Philippines
commenced by Lucas Dangatton and William Pollock, will continue to be blessed by God, and that my family, that is all branches of the family, including the grandchildren, will be able to access all the records of our work. These are recorded in our books and publications, which are all available as hard copies or PDF readable, downloadable downloads, including the YouTube videos, and accessed via our website.